Hello everyone and welcome to this video, which is in our Great Engine Middlegames series. I'm Grandmaster Matthew Sadler and we are taking a look at another game between Stockfish and Torch from the CCC20 Bullet Finals. One of the funny things about engine games is that sometimes you get a position that just looks totally crazy, but the engines already know what the result is. But still, it's incredible fun to look at, and well, this was just one game that really caught my attention. I'll say it right now, the engines think that white is simply winning all the way, but still, it's still great fun to look at. So, what is this position? Well, Stockfish is white, Torch is black, and white is a piece up with a couple of rather good-looking pass pawns. There is some sort of danger on the king side. There's threats against the g-pawn, there's a knight coming in here. There's maybe even something like knight c4, for example, and well, this rook could be a little bit dangerous. I mean, with white, I'd be looking to try and consolidate, maybe offer the exchange of queens, something like that. But for Stockfish, there's no need for that. We'll just let the whole storm blow against our position and then just pick up all the material. And that's what happened. Let's have a look how it went. So b6, rook e8, and now b7. And here Torch decided to launch the attack with rook takes g2. So, well, obviously you've got to take that rook because queen f3 is coming in, or even something like knight f3 as well. And after king g2, knight c4 played, which caught me a little bit by surprise. So, what's the idea? Well, the idea we're forking these two, and of course queen f3 followed by knight takes c3 is coming in. So that's also quite dangerous. How do you deal with all those threats? Well, Stockfish came up with an absolutely gorgeous defensive idea here, which obviously it had seen quite a bit in advance. Play the move queen c1, so we're attacking that knight on c4. Always best actually when you're defending if you can defend whilst attacking the pieces that are attacking you, because that tends to force the opponent to keep on moving, keep on coming forwards. You know, if his pieces are safe just where they are, often he's got the possibility to bring another piece into the attack. If you're attacking the pieces that are attacking you, then yeah, it kind of forces the opponent to keep on moving those single pieces. So queen f3 check played, king h2, and knight takes c3. And just playing, you know, through it at quick speed, I was thinking, ooh, this looks quite dangerous. You know, black's obviously threatening queen takes g2 mate. This knight on f2 is hanging as well, and well, obviously these pawns are pretty good long term, but they're not going to help white if white gets mated. But Stockfish played queen g1, and now this move knight f5 was played, and this looks quite awkward because we're threatening queen f4 check, and it's going to be quite hard for the king to avoid checks. You know, we're going to have knight g3s coming in, knight e3s, or knight h4s, depending where this white king moves. But yeah, Stockfish came up with an absolute beauty here, which I really do like very much. Stockfish played the defensive move knight h1. There are other moves in this position, but this one's absolutely gorgeous. I just love the contrast, really, between these pawns on the queen side moving up and these pieces just in the corner protecting the white king. It's just a really very nice contrast there. So yeah, I mean, if you go queen f4 check, I just go knight g3, and if you go knight h4, I'll go rook f1 here. And well, whatever you do, I can always give up a rook for the knight, and then just queen my pawns. So what Torch did was play the move knight h4, just setting itself up for a check somewhere, and then maybe a knight coming into f3. Well, Stockfish took the opportunity to go a7, so now two queens ready to land. Queen e2 check, queen f2, knight f3 check. And now king g3. Yeah, if you go king g2, we go knight h4 check, king h2, and knight f3 check again. So the king has to go to g3, and now queen d3. And queen d3 is a really cunning move. It's hitting the rook on b1, but it's actually got an even bigger threat. If you go b8 queen in this position, then knight g5 check is rather awkward, because we're threatening queen takes h3, and then we'll have knight f3 check coming in afterwards. Could be very, very dangerous indeed. So what Stockfish did was simply king to g2. Just give that rook away, queen takes b1, and then we're going a8 queen. So yeah, I mean, it feels like, you know, to me it really feels like black should be able to do something, and yet somehow it doesn't quite seem to work out that way. If you go rook e5, the engines are just saying b8 queen, easy, and no problems at all. The problem is something like rook g5 check. We can just go knight g3, and yeah, I mean, you know, knight h4 check, king h2, what do we care? The queen's attacking this queen. We've also got threats like queen g8. Yeah, there's just too many queens on the board. That's the basic problem. So there's no real possibility to bring the rook into play, which is surprising to me, I have to say. But we've got checks here, and king h2 check, king g2, and king g3. We move up the board, and now something very, very interesting. I mean, Torch played the move e3, and one of the lovely things about e3 is that it gives this black queen the ability to come round with queen g6 check. So all of a sudden, the white king's facing danger from another area. I mean, I was again looking at rook e5, but again, b8 queen, rook g5, king h4, and yeah, what can black do? Not very much at all. And the fact that you're queening and attacking the queen on b1 is really key here, because well, that's a big threat already, of course, and of course queen g8 followed by queen takes f7 check is another big threat. And somehow you just can't get close to that white king with your queen. But after e3 it's possible, and this queen's looking to give a check on g6. But now queen e2, and well, somehow if queen g6 check, we've just got king h2, and yeah, somehow that queen is then not able to give another check to the king. You're just not quite coordinated enough. So Torch played this nice move, queen e4, which really is getting you know, to grips with some good squares here. We're threatening, for example, queen e5 check, and yeah, this is really important. Queen a1 is played, and this is stopping queen e5 check. So two queens coordinating now. This is going to get a little bit tricky for black. Knight c2, and now queen b1, another very important move. We're pinning this knight to the queen, so we're stopping this knight from getting back into play with knight d4, because from d4 this knight would be threatening knight f5, also attacking the pawn on e2. So Torch played queen g6, king h2, and now knight d4. This is quite a nice idea. Takes, pawn takes, and well, I mean, you've got the knight on d4, you've got this pawn running through, and we've also got a very unpleasant little check on here if ever the queen tries to get in the way. But white has got this idea, b8, rook. Yeah, apparently engines always under promote, because they sort of feel that if you promote to a queen, of course black's going to take it. If you under promote to a rook, black might think twice about it. But of course, well, you know, if knight takes e2 here, then rook e8, and we just pick up this pawn. So black takes on b8, and now queen e3, rook check, knight f2, knight f5. And well, to be honest, I wouldn't 100% fancy trying to win this in some sort of blitz finish on a live chess bullet game. I could easily imagine myself losing this, to be honest. If not on time, then to a knight fork. But yeah, Stockfish put this away quite nicely. I'll just whiz through a few of the moves. It was all happening at bullet pace, so why not just whiz through? Because there was one very nice finish here. So rook b3, queen e2, knight f5, king h2. You can see how careful white has to be here not to get forked somehow, and it takes a little while to get organized. Actually, black manages to win this pawn, but now white's going to start getting closer to the black king and start making things a bit awkward. So queen b4, rook c5, knight e6. This is a nice square for the knight, attacking the pawn on g7. Rook c8, queen takes d6, king f7, knight c7. Really nice coordination from the queen and the knight here, just getting closer and also really restricting the squares available to the black rook. So rook b8, queen e6 check, and queen e5, another very nice one, stopping rook b2, X-raying sort of the rook on b8 and threatening knight e6 and the pawn on g7 there. So rook c8. Now, many possible ways to win here, but Stockfish did it quite a beautiful way. Queen e4 played, so if rook takes c7, we've got queen f4 check. Always love those forks here and here. king f7, king g1, just still waiting, rook b8, and now a lovely little idea, queen c4 check, king f8, knight e6 check, king f8, king g8, and now see if you can spot with the idea that that Stockfish played. I certainly didn't see it coming. It's the very beautiful knight f8 check. So if you go king f8, which actually happened in the game, then queen f4 forks the king and rook. And if you go over to h8, then I come into queen f7. I'm hitting this knight here. And if you go something like knight c6, well, no, if we go rook b1 check, king f2, rook b2, check, check, rook e2, king d1, rook e3. There should be many ways to win this. Unfortunately, one very simple way for white is this one, which is winning for white. I wouldn't actually dare to do this, to be honest, because I'd be afraid that that the pawns would get swapped off for this one. But Dragon won this against Stockfish, so I guess that's most probably true. If you don't do that, you do something like knight c6, then well, knight takes g6 check. Here and knight e6, and well, the pressure against g7, the restricted black king is going to do the rest. I had to say, you know, I just love the finish, really. I mean, this position, you know, to start with is pretty picturesque, but in particular, this little idea of going queen g1 and then knight h1, just curling up in a ball there on the king side, whilst your pawns on the queen side go on to queen. It was really, really nice, and just amazed somehow that, you know, black's got lots of pieces, a knight, a queen, a rook, not you know, not passive at all, just all checking around, but somehow white manages to keep things at bay, and all played at bullet speed. Just a really nice game. And of course, you know, the other nice thing in there is just the way that Stockfish just gives away this rook on b1, just you know, king g2, there we are, take my rook, and queening, and it's all just not quite enough for Torch there. So there we are. I hope you just enjoyed that little snippet. There's just you know, I've been playing through hundreds of these bullet games, and just from time to time you just see something that amazes you, and well, you know, you play out the games with your engine, and the engine says, you know, it was easy, just routine, but still, I still find it absolutely amazing. If you like that, why not like the video, subscribe to the channel, have a look at my new books, and they are really worth reading, I can promise you that. And otherwise, you know, thanks very much for watching the video, and hope to see you in the next videos. Thanks for watching.